Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to LinkedIn One-on-One with the Abedin brothers, Umar and Salman. And today our special guest is Faisal Sheikh. And this is episode 19. And today I will not be introducing Faisal. Salman would like to do the honors. So Salman, over to you.
So, a lot of people who will be looking at this video will know me and Faisal together. The reason is that Faisal and I were involved in a number of escapades and projects and thought,
Involved.
yes, thought
Schemes.
processes, schemes. There was one in particular where Faisal was chief executive officer or chief operating officer, and I was chief something officer, and we were
Chief
trying
strategy
to,
officer, Salman.
yeah, with something, and
We
we
had to
were
sign
trying
each other's appointment letters.
exactly, and we had some very interesting business/spiritual encounters in that escapade, which we will not talk about today. But it's a very interesting triangle. Faisal and Omar know each other from another perspective. I know Faisal very well from another perspective. But those who know Faisal and myself know that we both started out the whole digital marketing exercise in Pakistan. He in his own capacity and me in mine, and then on the PAS platform of Digit, we ran into each other many times, and we had many lively debates because Faisal and I often find ourselves at the other end of arguments. But there's absolutely nothing personal. We remain the best of friends, and I really enjoy conversation with Faisal Sheikh, and I'm sure those who remember his classes and standing on desks um, with the video evidence of which is still available.
Of course, video and photographic evidence. It's on
correct.
Facebook for the curious.
For the curious.
So I have to provide context now for everyone listening. So when I joined Zabis as a faculty member, I was given two examples of discipline. On the one hand was Faisal Sheikh, who was a strict disciplinarian who would reprimand people who came into the classroom 1 second after the bell rang, who would make people stand on a chair and recite the national anthem to prove that, to allow them to actually come into the classroom. And on the other hand was Salman Abdin, who was completely laissez-faire and completely lackadaisical about attendance, and didn't really care. He would just give a quiz without warning, and that would be the attendance for the day. So I decided, in the time-honored tradition of embracing the and, I decided to do both. So I would penalize people for coming in late, and I would give quizzes. In some classes, I gave 2 quizzes just because half the class was absent, and I was like, "What is going on?" And they're like, "Sir, wo falane mele mein gaye mein." So it was just.
And sorry, Omar, I need to interject over here. The moral of the story is Salman and I escaped Zabis. Omar is still there.
No. I was there. I was there for a year. And then I left as well. We won't get into the whys and the where-to-fors, but it involves teaching at KSBL. So I've been associated with KSBL since that time. All right, guys. So let's get into it. I think we could just keep chit-chatting for the next couple of hours, because I don't think the three of us have ever done a call together, and there's a lot to catch up on. Salman is in Toronto. Faisal is in defense. I'm in another part of Karachi. So we haven't actually seen each other for a very long time, and this would be a great way to catch up. But today we're talking about blurring of lines, right? So we're talking about what is happening in our personal lives, in our work lives, and then we'll take that discussion forward to see how various platforms are blurring the lines between their verticals as well. So let me start the ball rolling. I actually wrote a post today on LinkedIn about the blurring of lines, and how work from home has turned a 9 to 5-ish kind of an environment to 24/7 on environment. And I was in a conversation with someone from North America, and they were complaining that they received an email at 8 p.m. and I just started laughing. I was like, dude, we have conference calls at 1 a.m. That's just, that's the difference. It's like, what? 1 a.m.? No.
No, that's the level of insanity we are getting into now. So that, again, sorry, taking up a little bit of a cue from personal and professional life. We've started blurring the lines I think about 15 years ago, when digital started invading the space. And work from home culture because of COVID has completed the process. So we were checking emails 3 years ago on our phones at midnight, maybe not responding. And that was it. Now we are pretty much doing it 24/7. So the process had started. The technology was there.
Yeah.
The reason wasn't. So you could still say, hey, I'm at home. I'm spending time with the family. Now the employer thinks you're working from home. You're pretty much doing it 24/7.
Yeah,
So might as well
you're
be responding
slacking off.
at
You're
3 o'clock.
slacking off. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you start looking at Pakistan, Salman, correct me if I'm wrong from the Canadian perspective these days, but because of Sehri and Iftari time specifically, you're actually waking up in the middle of the night and responding to your emails. Do you think that's the same thing over there?
So fortunately or unfortunately, I'm part of a startup which is based in 3 different time zones. So what I found in Ramzan was that Sehri time was the best time to actually get a call in with the team there. Because if I didn't get it in at my Sehri time, they would start fading when I got up. And the Pakistan team would be out for Taraweeh, right? So we were not able to coordinate until I actually started taking calls at 5 a.m. Just finish Sehri and then take the call and then go to sleep and then disappear for them for the rest of the day, basically.
So again, disappear for the rest of the day. So disconnect.
Yeah, I had
for
to.
us, there is no disconnection.
Yeah, so they were doing their own office hours in Glasgow, and the Karachi team was doing their own office hours. So they had their own teams working on their own office hours. But for me, being in the third time zone, which is Eastern Standard Time, which is -5 from Glasgow, so it became very difficult to figure out a time when I wasn't fading, Glasgow wasn't fading, and Pakistan wasn't about to open iftar, right?
Yeah.
So in Ramzan, it was pretty difficult to manage the time until I said, okay, fine, I won't go to sleep after Sehri. I'm here. That was the only way to do it.
So you fell on your sword basically for the team.
I had to, otherwise I was being left out of decisions practically.
Yes.
So him and rest of the team, one person versus multiple people, right? So maybe
that's
not falling on his sword just yet.
Yeah, hopefully not yet.
Well, yeah. So this is a challenge. I mean, there have been discussions. My whole team is based in Islamabad. I'm in Karachi, and there are decisions being taken in Islamabad that I am often informed of after the event. And at this
I think
point,
that usually happens with people like us.
well, I don't know about people like us, but I do know that this coronavirus thing has kind of brought an intense focus on management styles, right? So there are some leadership styles that are very uncomfortable in this environment. They're extremely uncomfortable. They're not really able to express themselves properly, but they're focused more on the wrong kind of KPIs. And I think this discussion we need to talk about KPIs, because if your KPIs involve number of hours that a person spends at his desk, as opposed to the deliverables during that time, or any time, then the way you monitor and track your people is entirely different. Whereas if you have clearly defined KPIs and they're oriented towards results, then you just follow up on the results. You have results with timelines, and that's it. There's a delivery expectation. And if you find that you cannot trust your people to act in that way, then it's really problematic in multiple levels, right?
So some people I've talked to totally agree with you. The others still believe in the old style of management.
Yeah.
I need to see the person. I need to make sure that the camera's on 24/7 or pretty much during office hours. And I would like to talk to. We will have another debate on that one over.
So what I've done for my own working style is that I will not switch on my camera for office calls. I just won't. I just will not switch on my camera. You can call me silly. You can make fun of me. You can bully me. I will not switch it on. And honestly, there are many people in the West who are not comfortable with showing you their homes.
Yeah.
And they don't switch on their cameras. And I think that has to be a right. Look, I'm here. I'm talking to you. I can share my screen. We can do a doodle together. No problem. we can brainstorm together, but I'm not going to switch on my camera.
And honestly, in some cases, it's advisable because, the person has not put on their pants.
Yeah. And that's what it is. And some people may have children running around, dogs, pets. They may have personal items on display in the house which they don't want to share with their office colleagues. It's none of their
Absolutely,
business.
absolutely. The bong in the corner,
So agreed.
the underwear on the floor. This is not stuff you want to share with your colleagues. Like, what the hell, man?
Okay, so camera usually sits at one angle. That is something you guys need to remember. So there's no PTZ on these cameras, right? Okay. So first thing that what happened was when I started working from home was that I told my wife, look, this is kids' space. I don't mind them running around as long as they're not naked. That's perfectly fine. Okay. So that is one piece of discussion I had. Sure. I am the invader.
Yeah.
Okay? So again, I have to abide by those norms. But nobody was expecting it to stretch to this length. I think in Pakistan, that's a little bit of misguided because we did have a fair bit of warning. We never expected that we will go into a complete lockdown and for this longer period. And now there are rumors that we might go into another longer and stricter lockdown.
Come on.
So, yep, there are rumors.
Well, they're supposed to announce something tomorrow, right?
Yep. So let's see what happens. But again, I'm glad we are having this discussion tonight, and let's see what the outcome of that cabinet meeting or whatever happens tomorrow. But blurring the lines between home and work will cause a lot of grief. And the post you shared, Umar, and Justin Trudeau's points, I did disagree on one. And I said mental health is going to be the key.
Yeah.
Because after this thing, you're going insane. And how many workplaces will be ready to accept people back? How many workplaces will remain the same? As you're talking about social distancing for at least 2 years. And by the time they get the vaccine or the treatment up and running, it will be at least 2 to 3 years.
Well,
and
listen,
for
man,
our part of the world.
I have to tell you, I'm going in for a small surgery on Friday. So I went in for a COVID test today at one of the big local hospitals here. In fact, the biggest local hospital here. And, they were quite organized and they were doing it outside in the parking lot with, proper tambu and all that. But I have just, from what I could see, the level of mental disturbance in that small group, 50 to 100 people that were in that process of, getting in line, getting a token, then getting, going and making the payment, and then going and doing this, and then getting a swab stuck up their nose. The level of tension and stress that was visible in that group of 100 people was tangible. You could touch it. We had one person faint while sitting down. She just fainted and fell on her face out of the chair. She face planted on the tarmac, just sitting there from stress. We had another person who I honestly thought she was having some kind of an attack because she started screaming at the top of her lungs. It was frightening for about 2 minutes because we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was happening with her, And she was just very stressed about standing in the line, and she just didn't want to be around all these people, and she started screaming and freaking out. So my suspicion is that mental health issues will come to the fore in a big way now moving forward. And so, resilience and all of these things, building resilience, exercise, all of this stuff, it's going to be so important moving forward, especially with these lines getting blurred to the point where, you don't know when you're at work. You're outside, maybe you're taking a walk up and down your own lane, right? But you're on the phone doing a conference call. You're still at work, right?
Yeah. So let's look at how technology companies are responding.
Yes, please.
So biggest news of the week, or pretty much the quarter, is Facebook coming out announcing Facebook Shops. I think it was pretty inevitable that Facebook gets into this thing, with Google talking about Google shopping ads. Google, again, does not talk about owning properties. They talk about bringing technology for people to make it work.
Yeah.
Facebook says, you need to do everything on my platform. And this is something we've seen in the past as well. So just before the call, talking to Umar on this, look at WordPress. A simple blog setup now is giving you e-commerce stack. Every kind of plugin you can talk about. They're plugging in Google. They're plugging in Facebook. They're plugging in every which thing. I will not point to that. And
shall we make Noshin famous? Let's make Noshin famous.
Hi,
Okay.
Noshin.
She can't hear you. He's got his earphones on.
He's got his buds on.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway,
Anyways,
continue.
let's get back on track.
Yeah. Blurring of lines, bro. Blurring of lines.
Right. And that is why, again, if you don't want your camera on, but people still need to see you, can use the green screen option. And so this is something new for Zoom's introduced as well. Because they do realize everybody's problem.
Well, you know what they're saying? They're saying that these new setups that people are doing at home with the green bays in the background and the nice ring light in the front and, you know, the warm lighting and all that, they're calling this the new suit, because they're saying this is not, you know, this is not faddish. This is just professional. So, you know, lo and behold, I've actually gone on and ordered a damn ring light because, and by the way, they're out of stock in Pakistan, or you're getting little garbage, you know, 6-inch little thingies that clip onto your phone. I'm like, what is the point of that? It doesn't really make any sense. So, so I've actually ordered one and it's on its way. I'm very excited. My kids are equally excited because it's coming with a stand and, you know, it has all the, you know, paraphernalia with it. So when that comes through, hopefully the quality of my videos will go up as well. But I'm also thinking about getting a proper mic. I'm thinking about getting a couple of other things that might help with the overall, you know, video quality at home, because at the end of the day, this is how you're now being perceived. In the old days, you'd put on a nice suit and get on stage with a mic and talk to people for half an hour, right? And then you'd interact and answer questions and all that. But this is the new suit. This is the new interaction. So
I think, again, I'm going to point to a historic fact when Steve Jobs introduced Apple without a suit.
Yeah, well, he was big. He was a personal branding guru, right? So he only had a black roll up and blue jeans in his
look at Mark Zuckerberg. I think it was shocking for everybody to see him in a suit jacket at the congressional hearings.
Yeah, I think it was shocking for him as well. He looked, more robotic than normal.
Yeah, his alien overlords asked him to wear a suit to hide his alien body.
Oh, because he was looking left to right continuously at his lawyers because of the stupidity of the questions that he was fielding from the Senate. So, how do you make money? What's your revenue stream if you don't charge people? Senator, we show people ads. That was hilarious.
So again, I think I would have responded a little bit differently.
I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised.
So
I
again,
thought he was very restrained actually for the kind of question he got.
Yeah. So if you look back at that congressional hearing, again, Facebook was in trouble, but at the same time, it was blurring of lines, right? So nobody really knew what Facebook is, yet everybody was using Facebook.
Yes.
Right. And Facebook essentially is bigger than a lot of countries in the world. The amount of people on it, the amount of commerce that goes on it.
No, it's the biggest country in the world. It's the biggest country in the world. 2 billion users, right? There's no country that has 2 billion people.
And has an ethical code of conduct where you can report people and they get punished by being blocked, and enjoy good conduct by getting better engagement.
Yeah. It's a a world unto itself. But okay, let's talk a little bit.
Surprising, we did a sales pitch for Facebook. That's really surprising, considering the 3 people on this call. I will now step out of this conversation. I'm sorry.
It was not intentional. Trust me. I'm not a fan. You're definitely not a fan. Faisal is somewhat of a fan by default from where he is right now, but we won't talk about that right now. Facebook has had a lot of issues around data privacy, the theft of information, all of those things. And at the end of the day, people don't realize that when you're getting a product or service for free, you are the product or service. People have just no concept of what that means in terms of targeting of advertising and personalized ads. And I've tried this out so many times, in my Starcom days as well. It used to be a joke. We would look at our phones and talk about a particular brand and wait to see how long it would take for ads to start showing up for that brand. And that's how intrusive it is. So Facebook is getting into shopping. Amazon
is definitely different.
Amazon is getting into advertising through their ad server, and they are way behind. So if Google makes $100 billion a year in ad revenue, Amazon made 12. Facebook made around what, 55, 60 last year. So, but Amazon went from 0 to 12 in 1 year. So the expectation.
But they do have a captive audience.
Exactly. So once you're on Amazon, and they're serving you whatever they want. So they will go from 12 to 24 to 50 in like probably 3 years. So that should be worrying, the Facebook's in terms of ad revenue. So if Amazon is coming this way and Facebook is going this way, who else? Google is going everywhere. Google is doing everything, right? They have what now, 8 properties that have over 1 billion users? Is it 8 or 9 properties?
I think 8 for now. The other one would get to 9.
That would be crazy, right?
So, Omar, the interesting thing is that while there is blurring of lines on the tech stack, I'll put it this way, and you need to look at how, when you go on search or you exhibit a specific behavior on any one of these platforms, your results become so customized that you'll pretty soon be wearing blinders. You wouldn't know what's going on with that person next door, because you're focused on one thing, right? You're looking at, let's say, shoes. And pretty soon your world is all about shoes. And somebody will come in and say, hey, if you wear shoes, you might also need socks. And from socks, it will be trousers, and that's pretty much it. But nobody would be talking to you about music or current affairs or news if you've not shown interest in it, because everything will become so precision.
So you're saying it will become an echo chamber?
It just might. And that is what kind of scares me as a person, not as a marketer or as a digital marketer, but as a person, that when will I be wearing blinders? Because while the lines are blurring, you're on one platform because everything's on that platform. Now pretty soon you're stuck on that platform.
Yeah, well, look at how streaming is evolving, Faisal, right? Now we have like 4 subscriptions that you have to maintain if you want to get all the content, or you need to be on a pirated server to be able to, rip everything off. So if you really want good quality content, you need 4 subscriptions, and this is not sustainable for most households. You can't be spending money on Netflix, then Hulu, then Disney Plus, and then one other whichever US based content provider, CBS or whatever you want. So there is going to be a need to bring all my interests into one place. So as far as streaming and content is concerned, I'm quite happy to pay one subscription fee, but on my interest. Like if I'm interested in one genre,
let's
just
say sports,
find me the best content from everywhere and I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
So how's this? We put up a service together which takes content, licensed content from each one of these providers and makes an a la carte menu. That is what cable operators used to do across North America, right? Cogeco or Rogers, all these guys do the exact same thing, right?
Yeah, but
so eventually somebody will come in as an OTT of an OTT and give you that option.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the next evolution, right? And so what you're seeing in Amazon and Facebook now, sort of bringing everything together, is where I think streaming will be probably a year and a half or 2 years down.
Pretty much.
So OTT of OTT, I think that's a very good way of putting it.
Interesting.
Somebody will coin a fancy name for it pretty soon.
I think we just did that, guys. I think you're looking at a pretty good team. We might be able to pull this off. Nay, what do you think?
I think I'm going to take my earbuds out instead of sticking my fingers in my ears.
Yeah, I just need $1 billion and let's get going. All right.
Well, so we're talking about categories that have gone like this in terms of breaking into pieces, and now they need to come back and converge again. So we've got a Facebook, for example, that's gone this way, and now we've got a Moment Pin which is going this way. So pivoting away from this open platform that allows access to everyone for everything, you're now creating a platform which is very private, very visible only to people that you specifically give visibility to, and so on and so forth. So I think wherever something becomes too broad, there's an opportunity for narrow niche product offerings that give specialized services. So, you know,
so Omar, when we got on LinkedIn, what, 15 years ago, when it was by invitation only? So that was the exclusive professional platform. And now you see Jumma Mubarak posts on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also see people asking for emoticons for hugs.
Yeah.
You really need to reread that post, bro. Most people have misunderstood the post. So the post was, I have to clarify this because it's got 560 bloody thousand views. Okay.
Yeah, please clarify.
Okay. The clarification was this: when you want to respond to a post, there are only positive options. There is a thumbs up, there's a heart, there's an insightful, there's a curious, and then there's a I'm forgetting the fifth one, but there are only 5 options. What I was saying was that if someone posts about 536 people getting laid off from Kareem this week, I don't want to like that. I don't want to heart it.
Omar, 3 years ago, before Facebook brought these in, when somebody was dying, people were liking that post also.
Yes, but what I'm saying, but this is the point. We are not 3 years ago. This environment has changed. We are much more woke than we were 3 years ago. We are much more attuned to what's happening in the environment. If someone posts that a plane crash went down, what do you want to do? You want to say, oh, insightful, curious?
Okay.
If someone rants about being great,
Omar, how about taking a second and actually putting that as a comment on the post saying, hey, sorry for you, instead of liking
you must do that. But here's the thing. The platform uses those indicators to judge the emotion of the platform at that time. Those, you know this, every one of those indicators is being tracked. So what they're tracking is basically 100% of emotional feeling on the platform is positive. But that's not the case, right? So for the purposes of tracking the emotional content of a platform, and here's again blurring of lines. I used to be one of those people who would say Facebook and LinkedIn are not the same. Keep them separate. Always keep them. I used to be like a Hitler on this. I've done posts on this. I've ranted about this. Don't confuse. But the reality of the matter is that with the blurring of lines, the fact is that our homes and our offices, our workplaces are becoming overlapped. We are interacting with people in a more personal way. There's no way in hell that I would have spoken to my chairman while his son was climbing over his head, in the old days. But, it's happened. It's 10 o'clock at night. His son has missed his dad. And, he's just playing with him while he's on the phone. This is a reality. So in that situation, there needs to be a more nuanced and more, I think, personalized way of sharing that emotion. And the thing is that we live in an era in which, 100,000 deaths in the US coming up? That's the big milestone that they have coming up today or tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
People have died because of Corona. Professionally, you don't know them personally. You know them professionally. What are you supposed to say? Oh, I'm curious. Like, come on. I'm not saying that, your condolences or your love and respect should be replaced.
Why would the morbid post be on LinkedIn for the first question?
No, because they have an impact on business. When the president's valet becomes ill, it threatens the president's well-being. That has an impact on the economy.
I think the celebrity sign for that particular post is fine, right? Especially if it's US.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not going there. Okay, I respect his right to live. He might be really not.
He's going down that road.
But whatever. I'm really trying not to go down that road. So what I'm saying is that so when Richard Branson lays off, whatever it was, how many people, and Virgin Atlantic declares bankruptcy, what are you supposed to say? You should be able to say, I'm concerned. What does this mean in terms of layoffs? And yes, by all means, nuance it through words. I'm not saying replace the words. I'm saying that let the platform understand that in this environment, people are concerned, people are worried, people are stressed, people are in a negative place sometimes. And that needs to be captured at the platform level. And this is what Jeff Weiner actually understood, and he immediately commented on it, put his product team on it. And he said, look, guys, we need to get more nuanced in this, because we are not living in, la la land. We don't live in, the perfect world where everything is always positive. We don't live in that world right now. I pray and hope that one day we do get there, but we don't right now.
Right. Okay. So essentially what you're saying is you need more definition with lines being blurred.
More nuance.
I would still call it definition.
Potato,
right?
potato.
Okay, no. The thing is, with nuance, you're actually stuck in a smaller corner. With definition, because if you're focusing only on one platform, yes, it's nuances. If you're thinking about the world in general, then it needs to be a little bit more defined in this time of chaos. Number one.
Certainly. But we were talking in the context of LinkedIn, right? So
yeah, right. Okay, so I was taking it a little bit broader. So let's talk about a couple of other things. Okay, so what do you think will about Google coming up with something very soon to compete with Facebook on this?
Such as
being able to buy something on YouTube. You see an ad and you click on it.
Yeah, clickable ads. I know. They've already done that,
so
right?
There you go,
brilliant.
Salman. You need to change your picture.
Jesus, where did Salman go?
Don't you remember this picture, Faisal? This is from Digit.
Way
back in the day. You should remember it, man.
Yes, I remember this. This is like so old.
It is. It's when I actually look nice.
You've got what, 500 pounds after that?
All
right, guys, let's keep it civil. So
okay, they're blurring out the lines. He's basically got no lines anymore.
I just needed to plug my charger in because I was going to lose.
Okay, we will let this one slide also.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, go on.
Right. So, clickable ads or not? Again, there are multiple options there, right? So even if, let's say, other platforms come up, so Vimeo kind of died. It's still there somewhere. They started sending a lot more notifications now. Look at Dailymotion. There's still platforms out there. Again, in minority context, but again, if one of those comes up with something similar, maybe for a company like Google, it might be not part of the long game, but for a company like Dailymotion or Vimeo, it might be the long game in order to survive in this market and bring something new, spice things up.
Okay, so listen, I want to continue this conversation. The challenge is that, the version of Zoom I have only gives us 30 minutes of recording time, right? So we are at the end of that time. So let us hang up and let's call back again and we'll continue this conversation.
Okay, are you on the same line?
Same line. Okay, Salman?
Okay.
Okay, bye.